Europe is bracing for what could be an exodus of more than 1 million refugees after Russia launched a full-scale attack on Ukraine. Joining us now to discuss is Patrick Donahue, Bloomberg European government editor in Berlin, and focused really on Eastern European economies. Patrick, what does this mean for Europe, considering the fact that the continent in some ways is still reeling from refugees that came from Syria?
Well, reeling, it depends on who you talk to. I think the continent, I mean, the European Union with a population of whatever is 500 million, is certainly able to absorb a large number of refugees. That was also proven in the 2015-2016 refugee crisis. It was primarily a crisis for Germany, where most of the migrants ended up. But it was a question of who wanted to take in migrants. And of course, back then, Eastern Europe almost steadfastly refused to take in migrants. And now you have another story, because if there's a refugee crisis on the back of a war in Ukraine, you're going to have more than a million refugees coming in, according to forecasts from European officials, different EU member states. And so you'll have a different picture for Eastern Europe.
Yeah, I didn't mean reeling necessarily economically. The last wave of refugees was absorbed well, but politically it was difficult for the last administration in Berlin, certainly, and for especially the peripheral countries, Italy and Greece. Are they willing to accept refugees this time?
You hear a different tune, yeah, from these Eastern European governments. This morning, Viktor Orban, the Hungarian prime minister, who's been a strident anti-immigration leader, he's made a name out of it, and he's heading into a difficult re-election in less than 6 weeks. He's exempted Ukrainian citizens from Hungary's fairly draconian asylum rules. I mean, rules that have been ruled illegal by the EU's top court. That kind of gives you an indication. Of course, Orban refused to accept mostly Muslim migrants 6 years ago during that crisis. And this time it's different when you're talking about Ukrainians.
Right, and what kind of reception then, if Ukrainians are on their way towards the European Union, Patrick, what kind of reception would they get, say, if they go towards the Polish border, which might be in their sights? And how quickly does this start to test the unity of the EU?
Yeah, well, I mean, the main picture for Ukrainian migrants coming out of war, basically, a fleeing war, is that in the EU you have 4 border states to Ukraine. Most of refugees will probably go to Poland, where you have already have a population of Ukrainians that's numbering between 1 and 2 million in Poland. They make up a large portion of the workforce there, and so the Polish government has been clear that they will accept migrants. So far, it's been a trickle comparatively. It's very early, but those numbers could grow depending on the level of violence.